Time now for the results. This is a competition. Competitions can only have winners and second place getters. No, seriously. With the results, please welcome Chief Judge David Carr.
Thank you, Graham. Thanks for keeping the audience warmed up. Sorry to be taking folks a little bit past our usual end time, 9 o'clock. And I know Jessica's up way past her bedtime because she's in Spain. So thanks for hanging in with us. I think we're going to make it worth it for you. I do need to announce that there was one disqualification. I won't go into any more details about that, but there was one. And without more of that, in third place, we have Gregory Bunchocks. Please unmute. Please unmute. Make some noise. Gregory Bunchocks in third place.
Great job, Gregory.
Well done, Gregory.
All right, Gregory.
Thank you, thank you.
Second place, Mansour Hassib.
Well done, Mansour.
Way to go, way to
Hey,
go.
Dr. Machine.
Good.
And in first place,
Drum roll.
yes, big drum
Where's
roll.
Roger? Roger, give us a drum roll.
First place, we have Jessica Brightenfeld.
There you go.
Jessica. All right.
Congratulations.
Good job,
Yay.
Jessica.
None of
Well
this
deserved.
disqualification for time stuff this time around. Thank you, Jessica.
She wore a watch.
Let's see. Let's see. I guess maybe we could spotlight our top three and take a picture of them. Joni, can you assist with that? Joni, are you there?
I see her.
Okay. Well, let's see. I guess I could do it too. Oh, let's see. We have one spotlight. There we go.
Pin. Mhm.
And one more would be Gregory
Gregory.
in number third place.
There
All
you
right.
go.
There we go.
Yay.
Well, we'll just grab a frame out of the video, but give big smiles. Big smiles. Was it worth staying up late, Jessica? I hope it was. All right. Congratulations to all of our winners. And we wanted to allow some time for some brief feedback. I'll ask the timer to time this like table topics. We were going to hear from our two celebrity guest judges. Cheryl's on screen right now, at least for me, she is. And so, Sheryl Roush, can you give a little bit of quick feedback to our contestants on what impressed you about tonight?
Well, what impressed me, as well as what we can all do to continue to improve, especially in this virtual kind of situation here, is remember not to be so robotic where the pauses are awkward. Create a conversation. So when I look at the judging forum, there's something else that I would add to it, and that is the factor of authenticity. I want to be spoken with, not talked at. So I want the words, the concepts, the feelings, all of that to come right into my spirit. I do want to giggle. I want to laugh. I want to be changed. I want to think differently. And I need connection in order to do that. So in addition to the judging form, which is well done, I look for authenticity and conversational tone. So if we were to go forward, whether it be online, hybrid, in person, create the conversation, have a dialogue, talk with, not at, not over, just heart to heart. As that translates into the Zoom environment, make sure that your camera is at eye level or slightly above, so that in positioning, you can really connect with that. There were a couple of moments that I really felt the connection. So Mansour, when you leaned into the camera and you were talking about truly a father's love, that almost brought me to tears. It was so honest. It was so raw. And I think that the passion that each of you have for your topic, whether it be donuts or health, and we certainly had some diametrically opposed there. Then we had the tortoise and the hare, and how does a fable relate into today's workplace? So the diversity of your topics was really outstanding. The passion that you have for each of your topics is wonderful. I love it when you lean in. I love it when you ask us open-ended questions. How many of us, instead of do you or have you, make sure that we can continue to relate to the examples that you're using. Because if we can't relate, we're not connecting, we're not moved to action. I'll start off with those comments. This was, thank you very much for inviting me as a certified virtual presenter and as an accredited speaker, and just as a fan of online presenters, that you would invite me to serve as a judge tonight. So thank you. Congratulations to everyone who entered, because you stepped up. You are raising your bar, you're creating the excitement, you're stretching your skills, and there's nothing like a contest to make us do it, and that little window of 5 to 7. Back to you.
All right, wonderful. Roger.
Greetings, everybody. It is not 3 a.m. here in Seattle, but I'm tickled to be with you, and I love the mission of your crew. Hey, if there was a couple just very broad thoughts coming out of tonight, it would be this. One is to think more visually, and I know you do, but here's my point. Start with how the medium affects the nature of how we connect. And the question that I would ask you is the viewing audience of is the viewing experience of your audience, is it more like an in-person presentation, or is it more like television? And what is the nature of how Hollywood producers get and keep attention? I've done hours on that, so I'll just invite you to go investigate that. But honestly, that takes me to point number 2, which is to think about yourself as a director of attention. Where and how is their attention? Hey, over on the right-hand side or of your, down in the lower left-hand corner of your Zoom viewer, you see the mute button or the chat button, or, you verbally direct people where you want to go. And to that point, I will say this: you don't need to be on camera all the time. Kritika, I loved the visual nature of your background, and to your credit, you moved out of the way to make stuff happen. But at the same time, there's in television, we don't need words on the screen all the time because it's an audio visual, right? To the point that Graham often makes, I hate dead air. Yeah, but we have a visual medium, so it's okay. Dead air is okay here sometimes. My humble opinion. Think of yourself as a director of attention. Number 3, open your at-a-glance tools. To me, if you are standing in front of an audience, you see faces, you see hands and that kind of thing. A virtual audience can only get so big before you can't functionally keep an eye on all the cameras, right? But if you open up your chat button or chat box, you can respond and go, oh, timer 2 says trying to spotlight while see it, right? Chat monitor says everybody's terrific. Congrats to all, right? We can respond just like we normally do. And finally, I will say this: repeat yourself. We're in a shorter attention span environment. You gotta tell them what you're going to tell them, and tell them what you told them, right? Good beginning, opening, and close. But in the middle, and I forget who I took the notes, but I forget who did it. But at some point, repeat yourself. Don't miss this point. At some point, repeat yourself, because I promise you somebody's looking away and not paying attention, and if you say it once, you missed them. Thanks.
All right, thank you. And thank you to both Sheryl and Roger. Roger, who actually I forgot to introduce him as Roger Courville, CSP, I'm sorry, which is one of his honorifics, but people here have lots of titles, and we have a very distinguished group. We achieved one of my goals for this evening, which was to give the speakers an opportunity to compete at a very high level against other very good online presenters. Any one of you could have, the scores were close, believe me. Um, let me open it up for just very brief remarks, because it is getting late for, particularly for some folks. But any brief remarks from our other judges and, other attendees as well, but for the judges first. AJ, Joseph, Judith, anything that you'd like to say about what you saw here tonight? Joseph.
Well, thank you so much for having me, David. I'm very impressed with this contest. You run a tight ship, and our celebrity judges, we can see why they are the celebrities here. Wow, Sheryl and Roger, I bow down to you. Really great feedback. I can only echo what you've said here. And something that I could piggyback on, though, is to think about who needs to hear your message. In the spirit of where other celebrity judges just said, just think about a specific individual or two and target it directly to those people.
Okay, terrific. Judith, you have anything you'd like to say?
I can say that I learned some tricks and tips on virtually presenting tonight from our contestants. And that's the one thing that I'm certainly going to take away with me. I love that. I love the pop-ins and pop-outs that Jessica did. I'm sorry, but I can't pronounce her name. I love that she stood in front of everything that was going on in the background. Our second, third contestant. So, these are tricks that I would like to incorporate with my own presenting when I'm encouraged or when I'm prepared to do something virtually. So thank you for that.
All right, very cool, very cool. And I think Jessica also demonstrated that your use of the virtual stage need not necessarily be technical razzle dazzle. It can be duck in and out of the frame. Which Mike Carr, no relation, I think kind of taught us in the first contest to be conducted online, is that the camera frame itself can be something to play with. AJ, I know you said you had to step away. Are you back? Would you like to say something? Carol Bransky, our at least two-time winner of this contest in its early form, and
Thank you.
I think contest master after that.
I want to congratulate all of these speakers today. I've seen a huge progress from back when I was a contestant in this group, and fabulous progress in both technology and your messaging, getting it across. I want to go back to this messaging idea, though, and say, what is your message? I think some of our speakers really nailed it in getting their message across. And I encourage you, if you felt like, okay, maybe my message isn't as strong, figure out how to relate that to your audience. And that goes back to the previous speaker's point, which is thinking about your audience, and always be thinking about your audience and saying, how can I connect to that audience? How can not the audience in general, but you? How can I connect to you? And really focus in on the individual. All of us are individuals, and we want to be talked to. All of us do. And that's what enables you to be successful in your message. Thank you, David. Back to you.
All right, very cool. And also, I know Graham and Jessica were talking. I missed it all because I was out of the room. But Jessica, now that you're the champion, and there's none of this timing disqualification stuff this time around, any thoughts that you'd like to share with the group?
I really liked hearing the feedback of the judges, because they're like things that we see people do, and you're like, they're pointing out to us really how great that is to use the frame or to make it about the audience, and we think it's about us. And I love to make it about me, right? Of course, my ego is big in that way, and I'm like, no, always the audience, say their names, look at them, play with them, right? And it takes, like, it's fighting the natural urge inside of me to, like, just take the limelight, right? It's really about the audience completely. And if you switch that, you have a lot more fun, because you're like, well, I won, I lost, who cares? We had fun, So
All right, well, very cool.
Mm.
And again, it is late. If people need to sign out, that's certainly understandable. But is there anybody else, not necessarily a judge, but anybody else who would like to speak up and offer a little bit of feedback? Open call. Raise your hand or just shout it out.
Very briefly, as contest Toastmaster, contest master, we can't say Toastmaster, it's not a Toastmasters contest. But as contest master, I want to thank, I want to thank all of the participants. I know there was, a couple of technical hitches, but I had a ball tonight. And, I always try to be ebullient and, hail fellow, well met, but it was so easy because they were all so good. So thank you again to all of the contestants, and thank you to the audience, by the way, for being a terrific audience.
All right. You're such a lovely audience. We'd like to take you home with us. I'm something I can't sing, but at any rate, I think we'll sign off there and close out the meeting. But thank you all for coming. We will be sending out a replay of this and a celebration of the winners. And thank you all for being here. Have a great night.